Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm sitting here at my desk today making a video that I didn't think I was going to be making anytime soon at the least. I'm sitting here today beyond excited. I'm happy because I just witnessed what is maybe the first good piece of drug-related legislation or drug-related government policy or anything drug-related the government has done in maybe my entire lifetime, okay? And what I'm specifically referring to is the fact that just this past week, the FDA has officially recommended the urgent scheduling of 7-0, a product that is found in smoke shops and gas stations across the country, an extremely addictive opioid that, while safer than fent and other opioids, can still be fatal in really high doses, and a product that by law, brands are not required to ID you for, which a lot of people actually don't know. We're going to talk all about this in a minute, but first, before I get any further in, if you're confused by this, you have no idea what 7-0 even is, I highly recommend you go watch my two previous videos on this subject, which I will have linked below. Those two videos are titled Most Dangerous Drug in the Smoke Shop and I Smoked an Opioid Vape, which yes, I actually tried this stuff on camera. I'm not going to try it again. What I will say is I am absolutely grinning ear to ear, and my grin is not faded ever since seeing this official FDA announcement on 7-0. This is a product that I have close friends that are extremely addicted to. I've seen countless commenters, you guys, sending me emails, leaving comments from both ends of the aisle, people who work at smoke shops saying they have people lining up like zombies 2 hours before they open to wait for their 7-0, people who have become addicted to it after only trying a sample pack that they were given for free at a smoke shop without having any forewarning about the addictive potential of that sample. I am ecstatic about this, if you couldn't already tell. Let's not waste any more time, and let me show you guys what I'm referring to, because all the 7-0 brands are about to tuck their tails, and they're about to be very, very poor, which makes me very, very excited, because I hate when bad people like predatory 7-0 brand owners make money. So let's take a look at what the FDA specifically has put out in this past few days. Now, the FDA has taken an extremely strong stance against 7-0, seemingly out of nowhere. This is the first time that the FDA has publicly acknowledged this product at all in any capacity. Kratom is not 7-0, and that's an important distinction that I want to make in this video, as well as an important distinction that the FDA makes in these articles. This is honestly, in my personal opinion, a best-case scenario for the regulation of 7-0. I think a lot of people, myself included, worried that 7-0 could get Kratom leaf banned as a whole. And the FDA has been very, very clear with their intent here that that's not going to happen. Natural Kratom leaf is not in trouble with this recommendation from the FDA. Now, as you can see right up here, they say in very bold text up top, the time to act is now. We can and must prevent the next wave of the opioid crisis. They are straight up calling 7-0 the new opioid crisis, which I'm not going to lie, I think they're pretty on the money with that. You can walk into smoke shops and get this stuff easily. Young kids can go get it. There's not a legal requirement to ID and make sure people are 21 plus when they buy this product. People in shops that are doing it are effectively doing it on good faith and to protect their asses in the future. There's not actually a written piece of law that states you have to be 21 to buy 7-0. So a lot of these, these smoke shops that are handing out samples, they're giving these 1 or 2 pill sample packs to kids, knowing that they're legally able to do it, and those kids are about to get hooked legally. What a moneymaker for all these predatory smoke shop owners and all these predatory 7-0 manufacturers, dude. They've been making money and laughing their way to the bank for probably a year straight at this point. It's not going to last much longer. Now, there's 4 different articles here, which I highly suggest all of you guys go and read, and all of these resources will be linked in the description. But specifically, we're going to hone in on one of these articles, this one right here. Now, specifically, I want to talk about this article because this is really where the FDA claps down on 7-0. This is where they really make their official stance on it public. And the very top of this article, it says, products containing 7-0 can cause serious harm. That is the heading of this article. They even say it twice. They're so dead ass about it. Now let's keep reading. This is really interesting, seeing the FDA act this quickly on this product, by the way, because the government is slow, right? Kratom leaf has been in shops for, over a decade at this point. We have all these, alt kind of shroom products like these 4-ACO DMT bars in shops. They've been around way longer than the 7-0 stuff, and the FDA has yet to really say anything about those products. So them acting this quickly on 7-0 tells me that they're not fucking around and they're going to really urgently push to get this scheduled. It also makes me think that part of the reason they're pushing this so aggressively is because then politicians that are currently in office, I'm not going to name any specific names, will be able to campaign on ending the new opioid crisis. Look, these previous politicians failed to act and millions of Americans died of the opioid crisis, but here we have curbed it in advance before it could ruin any more lives than it already has. I definitely am seeing that angle just off this little line right here. We can and must prevent the next wave of the opioid crisis. But let's read into this. Tempted to try products containing 7-hydroxy, also known as 7-0, such as tablets, gummies, drink mixes, and shots, sold online and at smoke shops and gas stations? Consider this. 7-0 products are novel, potent opioid products that have not been proven safe or effective for any use and should be avoided. That is an extremely strong stance. The government does not tell people to specifically avoid an entire category of products unless they really, really mean it. Sometimes they'll suggest it, they'll be a little vague with their wording, but for them to publish this and just straight up say all 7-0 products should be completely avoided, that does not sound good. That does not bode well for the brand owners in this space, who, by the way, are all going to prison very soon, and I'm going to show you why after this article. So let's go on here. The US FDA recommends that consumers avoid 7-0 products, including conventional foods, dietary supplements, and those claiming to treat an ailment or disorder. While 7-0 occurs naturally in trace amounts in the plant kratom, the FDA's warning is for products containing 7-0 added as an ingredient or at enhanced levels, which can be dangerous. This is something I spoke about in my previous videos about 7-0, and I'll talk about it again. What these companies are doing to kind of protect themselves and legitimize their product is they're saying, oh, 7-0 occurs naturally in the kratom plant. This is a natural product. What they're leaving out and what they're not even legally required to be telling you guys is these companies are able to synthesize the 7-0, and that's what they're likely doing. They're not grinding up kratom plant and extracting it all naturally. That's extremely inefficient and would cost a ton of money. It's much easier for these brands to just synthetically create the 7-0, which I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing in itself. That doesn't make the 7-0 any more dangerous for you to consume, but it does kind of start to show how willing these people are to mislead you. They'll lie to you the moment they sell it to you, and they'll lie to you every step of the way down, okay? They want you to think it's natural. They want you to think this is a kratom product, and I think calling this a kratom product is pretty disingenuous because it's not. This is not a kratom extract. They're not extracting 7-0 from kratom. They're synthesizing it and then defending themselves by saying, well, look, it's found naturally in kratom. This is a natural product. It is not, okay? Now, they say here, 7-0 is not approved by the FDA for any medical use and is not lawful as a dietary supplement or when added to conventional foods because it has not met the appropriate safety standard. Despite that, some companies are distributing and selling unlawful products containing high concentrations of 7-0 to consumers. Unfortunately, these 7-0 products, including foods such as gummies and drink shots, are readily available online and at smoke shops, gas stations, and corner stores. The FDA has sent warning letters to companies for illegally distributing products containing 7-0. This is an extremely important part of this article because the FDA has just come out and publicly said that 7-0 products are not lawful. They are directly calling these products illegal and saying that the distribution of these products at gas stations and corner stores is illegal in itself. I have been saying since the very beginning of my coverage on this topic that a lot of people are about to go to prison for this shit, and it sounds like I was right on the money, and I couldn't be happier about it. These brand owners are evil, evil people that are preying on young, naive drug users to try their sample and get hooked on it. And the way they cover that is they also advertise, well, it's for pain relief. It's for people who are hooked on methadone or Suboxone trying to quit their opioid use. And I just personally don't believe that replacing one addiction with another justifies the amount of kids that are walking into smoke shops and getting hooked on this. In my opinion, in an ideal world, 7-0 would be dispensed from clinics the same way that Suboxone or methadone is. Unfortunately, it's being dispensed by teenagers behind the register at smoke shops to other teenagers on the other side of the register at the smoke shop, which is just not how this should be going around at all, right? If anything, Call me crazy. I think it's better if people are going to drug dealers for this stuff because although, yes, it could be adulterated, at least you know what you're signing up for. You know who doesn't know what they signed up for? The stupid kid who walks into the smoke shop to buy a vape and is handed a free couple pills by the cashier and instantly gets high as fuck and wants more. That guy didn't know what he was signing up for, and that's the kind of person I look to protect when I make this kind of content because I was that kind of naive person when I was younger. Now, there's obviously a lot more in this article. You know, we're going to cover, this is an important part. 7-0 products are novel, potent opioid products. Exposure to 7-0 could result in serious harm. Now look at this. This is interesting. The FDA has received reports of harmful effects associated with 7-0 products. These effects include addiction, anxiety, depression, gastrointestinal distress, insomnia, seizures, and withdrawal symptoms such as restlessness, body aches, fatigues, irritability, and cold sweats. Now, you know what's really interesting about this entire situation, ladies and gentlemen? FDA actually publishes every warning letter that they've ever sent out to any company publicly on their website right here. And all I had to do was type in the term 7-0, and I found every warning letter they sent out to every single manufacturer and distributor of this stuff. And this exposes the real identities of these predatory brand owners, the shell companies that are protecting them in court, and how they operate. This gives us an insight that previously nobody had until the FDA started sending these warning letters out. And if you look at the date, they actually sent warning letters out to all these companies a month ago on the same exact day, June 25th, 2025. So these brands have known for about a month in advance that they're in some deep, deep shit. Now, before we get into the warning letters and, read into this and how bad this industry really gets, I want to talk a little bit about some of the hypotheticals. How long is this ban going to take? How long until 7-0 is off shelves? A lot of people online are generally agreeing on 6 to 12 months being the timeline, the fast-track timeline for banning this product and getting it off shelves. Personally, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not an expert, okay? I don't, really dabble in politics too often, nor do I work for the FDA, but what I can say is it seems like they're really going to do this as quickly as possible. The warning letters all being sent out on the same day, not staggering them at all. The, public aggressive warning being released with the FDA directly calling these products dangerous and illegal, which is insane. That's not a very common thing for them to do. I think this is going to happen really fast. In my personal opinion, I would be really surprised if we saw 7-0 products legally sold in stores past January 1st, 2026. I have a feeling that they're going to fast track the living hell out of this, which, to be fair, is a good thing. The sooner these products are off smoke shop shelves and gas station shelves and, maybe being regulated more, we can save some more people from becoming opioid addicts when they didn't sign up for that. That's, I think, great news. Now, one of the real big reasons that I don't like this industry, I don't hate this industry, I don't hate 7-0 because of the drug itself. I hate 7-0 because I'm in a position where I'm very familiar with a lot of the faces behind the scenes. I know a lot of the people, through mutual friends that are running some of these brands, okay? I have connections with these people. If you watched my first video about the most dangerous drugs in the smoke shop, you remember that I actually had a contact at one of the companies in this space called 7-Ohms who said some very incriminating stuff to me before cutting all contact when he realized that I wasn't going to be his friend after saying that incriminating stuff. Now, speaking of that brand, let me show you the warning letter that they got mailed on June 25th. This is the warning letter that the FDA sent to 7-Ohms, which is one of the leading brands in the 7-0 space. They sell a ton of this stuff. I don't know the exact financials of who's making the most money in this space, but I do know very confidently that this is one of the leading suppliers and one of the original manufacturers of this. These guys are OGs in this space, and they're a big brand. I see this product on the shelf in almost every smoke shop. Mind you, one of the employees, the dev for this company, reached out to me via text and told me that he had some very incriminating things that he wished he could tell me off record, and then ghosted me after I responded to that message. Just keep that in mind, as this is about to get a lot sketchier than my last video even. So, as you can see, on June 25th, the FDA sent a warning letter to 2 different people, okay? This is actually addressed to the parent company of 7-Ohms, Thang Botanicals. Not technically the parent company, it's actually just the real name of the LLC, and they're doing business as 7-Ohms. It's not 7-Ohms LLC, It's just Thang Botanicals doing business as 7-Ohms. That's what that DBA means right there. And for the first time, we actually see who the CEO is. This guy named Haywood Mitchell. His identity is not super relevant here. What's really important is this company, Thang Botanicals, which we're going to come back to in just a minute. Now, we also see here who is primarily distributing this product for them. This is how a lot of this stuff works. The manufacturer for a product like this is not going to also distro it themselves. They often don't have the facilities to send trucks across the country or ship boxes to all these smoke shops and coordinate that. So a lot of these brands will partner up with a distro. Blackbird Distribution is the distro that they've partnered up with. THCA brands do this stuff too. It's very common. If you're going to smoke shop shelves, you don't build that out yourself. It's just not worth it. You partner up with a company who specializes in distro. But interestingly, this must be either a distribution company that's maybe owned by Thang Botanicals, or at the bare minimum, a primary distributor for this product. Completely different LLC, completely different owner named here. Interestingly, though, the email for them is listed as retail at 7-Ohms, which is, I don't know, that throws me off. However, let's just keep reading into this letter. Dear, I don't know what that, Messrs. Mitchell and Kumar, I don't know what that word is. Messrs.? Is that some government ass? I don't know, dude. This letter concerns your dietary supplement products, 7-Ohms Tropic Thunder Kratom Shot and 7-Ohms 14 milligram 7-hydroxy tablets. Your product labeling for these products declares 7-O as an ingredient. This letter concerns your 7-Ohms gummies in strawberry acai flavor, the labeling of which states it contains 7-O. As explained further below, introducing or delivering these products for introduction into interstate commerce violates the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. You can find the Act and FDA regulations through links on the FDA's homepage at fda.gov. FDA has observed a proliferation of products containing 7-O and has serious concerns about products containing 7-O. The concerns include the following. 7-O products have not been evaluated by the FDA for safe use. FDA has received adverse event reports associated with 7-O products, and 7-O has been reported to have opioid-like effects. Now, as you can see, the FDA is not happy. The FDA is not happy. Now, I'm not going to read this in full because this is a lot of legal and technical mumbo jumbo. I'm only going to skip ahead to the, the important parts here. So first and foremost, the FDA is not happy about the food additives, and they're considering 7-O a food additive according to this, okay? They say here that food additives require pre-market approval based on data demonstrating safety. Any food additive that has not been approved for its intended use in food is deemed to be unsafe under Section 409A of the Act 21 U.S.C. 348A. These numbers are irrelevant. What they're saying here is the additives that they're using are not FDA approved, and that's unacceptable to them. There is no food additive regulation that authorizes the use of 7-O or kratom extract in food. We are not aware of any information to indicate that 7-O or kratom extract is the subject of a prior sanction. Furthermore, we are not aware of any basis to conclude that 7-O or kratom extract is GRAS for use in conventional foods. FDA's regulations in 21 CFR, which is one of their little rules and laws, describe the criteria for eligibility for classification of a food ingredient as GRAS. Now, GRAS means it's acceptable. It meets their standards. GRAS is an abbreviation for their legal mumbo jumbo, but it just means that they approve of the ingredient and you can use it legally and sell it as a food or supplement product, right? They're saying that 7-O is not approved for that purpose and they're not happy about it. That is not okay. You could say they actually say that bar for bar right here. Therefore, based on our review, the use of 7-O or kratom extract in conventional food does not satisfy the criteria for GRAS under 21 CFR 170.30. Now, what's really interesting here is it's not like the 7-O industry are the first ones to use a kratom extract in a food product. This has happened before. There's a lot of these energy shots that use kratom extract, but none of these warning letters were sent to the leaf kratom brands. They specifically seem to be targeting the 7-O brands primarily. However, another thing that is mentioned here in this original article, the FDA, although primarily mentioning 7-O, is also naming kratom extract somewhat vaguely. Now, what that'll mean for the kratom extract products, such as those little shots, I've tried them before when I was in high school, those little kratom shots that taste like dirt and mud. Who knows? I personally don't know if I agree with the banning of those natural kratom extracts, but 7-O has got to fucking go. I hope the FDA takes a little more time to maybe look into the kratom extracts that are using natural leaf kratom and not, synthesizing 7-O and putting them in liquid. Because I think they still should differentiate between those two products as well. I don't view them as the same. Now, the really important part of this, we, for the first time now, have just learned what the actual real parent company of 7-Ohms is. I have been saying for months and months to you guys that the operators in the 7-0 space are the sketchiest, most absolutely questionable and diabolical individuals in the entire industry. Out of any type of product you could pick up out of the smoke shop, 7-0 is probably the least trustworthy one, with inconsistent dosing, sketchy websites, backyard labs selling this shit. They're just pressing it in warehouses with shitty, low-grade, non-pharmaceutical pill presses. The doses are not consistent. It's pretty well accepted in the 7-0 community. You can look it up that dosages on a lot of these smoke shop name brand 7-0 products are not super accurate or consistent, okay? That's well known. Now, Thang Botanicals. Let's look into this company. What is Thang Botanicals? The company that owns 7-Ohms, the company that, officially is 7-Ohms. So let's take a look at this website. Discovering the science behind nature's secrets. We develop biotechnology solutions for diagnostics, therapeutics, and personalized medicine. Very vague here. Coming soon as I click view more. All right. Okay. Let's go back to the homepage. Maybe they just haven't finished that yet. Formulation, research, and development. There's no mention of 7-0 or Kratom or anything specific. It's very vaguely just scientific. Let's click on this. Oh, coming soon. No problem. Okay. How about research and development? Surely you're okay. Coming soon. The timer has run out, brother. I think it was coming in the past by the looks of it. What's interesting here as well is if you look in the bottom right, they have an address in Scotland for some reason, which makes no sense because that's not where they're based. They're actually based here in California, not too far from me right now. That's okay. Maybe the website's new. Maybe they just built it. Okay, let's scroll down. Have a question? I do. Oh, coming soon. Okay, all right, coming soon. No questions. We don't accept questions, okay? Well, that's okay. Let's go down to how we work. We don't work. We don't do any work. Okay. Well, you know what page is complete and what page does actually have some info on it? Our team. Let's go take a look. And mind you, the CEO of this company, also the assistant chief financial officer and the owner, is listed as these two individuals, Haywood Mitchell and Kapil Kumar. These two individuals, well, they're on the team, surely. Let's go check them out. Where they at? Haywood and Kapil. Well, this is quite strange. Kara Kellamramni. I probably butchered that name, but it's okay because I don't think Kara there is a real person. Brian Wagner. Let's take a look at some of the pill bottles that are on the shelf behind you. Oh, well, let me zoom in. Okay, let's take a look at some of these pill bottles on the shelf behind you. I don't see any word that's legible. In fact, some of these bottles, like this one right here, are completely blank. Okay. Brian Wagner, dude. Maybe you just hopped in the studio for a little photo shoot. Tang Wang. Tang Wang. Are these guys shooting the shit? All right, let's continue. I'm so sorry, sir, that I'm about to butcher your not real name. Shiva Puranam Rajaputhi. I love your outfit, brother. I love your outfit. You look really clean. No one has any acne, no blemishes. Thang Botanicals must be working, bro. Look how perfect everybody's skin is in these pictures. These people are flawless, dude. These people are flawless, brother. Let's keep going. Also, notice here, Kara, her earring seems to not, the hoop of it on her left ear goes below the ear. On the right ear, it seems to be going right through it. Okay, no problem. Let's go down. By the way, it's kind of weird. It said that the CEO is actually Haywood Mitchell, and the chief financial officer was one of those two as well. But it says here, that's not the CEO at all. It's Kara Kellamramni. That's interesting. Let's go down. Gunther Wolf. Oh, Gunther. You must be doing some deep research here. We're not even at my favorite of all the pictures yet, okay? We've got Trayvon Williams, PhD, research and development. Trayvon, what are you cooking up, dude? Can we get a new formula for the 7-0? Dude, I want extra strength. My favorite of all the individuals on this webpage here is Jonathan Billings, the chief legal counsel. Now, Mr. Jonathan here is wearing a watch with no face. It is just a plain white circle for his dial. He's got a book open that has no text on it. And then the other book here seems to only have text on the left side that fades away with the right side. My favorite part of it all, you guys might have to lean forward and really look closely here. The buttons on his chair, specifically right here where my cursor is, seem to start melting into each other. Interestingly, it's a hot day. You could see the windows open, the words melted off his page, the face melted off his watch, and the buttons are melting off his chair, dude. Tough life for Jonathan Billings, but thankfully, Thang Botanicals is doing good business, man. It's doing really good business. Now, do you guys want to see what is, in my opinion, the most insane part of it all? If you go to thangbotanicals.com, and I'm specifically going to show you guys the URL up here, don't ask me how I figured this out, but if you add after the .com /main-home-2, you realize very quickly how they've created this website. They just ripped another one, an existing website for a different company. Now, this takes me to what they inevitably and clearly used as the template for their main Thang Botanicals homepage, right? You could see they've switched the logo, they've moved some stuff around. Now, this Merity company, this isn't a different website. This is still thangbotanicals.com, as you can see in the top here. This Merity, what is this? All of this appears to be in Latin. You can't read any of these captions. This is very clearly a template website. Well, I did a little more digging, and I found the real website that they ripped from, merity.codeinteractive.com. For some reason, this is also in Latin, and I'm not sure what this is, if this is a template for something entirely different. But what I'm trying to share with you guys here is that this entire thing is a sham. The entire structure of this company seems to not be real. Not a single person on that Our Team page appears to be a real individual. Not a single one of the people who is listed on the legal warning from the FDA appears anywhere on this website at any capacity whatsoever. So what are they doing? What is this? My theory is that this website exists to cover their asses when the FDA inevitably claps down on them for selling a product that the FDA has now officially deemed illegal. Now, listen, guys, I'm not an unfair dude. I offered 7ohms the chance to respond to this topic. Let me show you how I reached out to them and asked a couple questions. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, how did I find out about all this? I didn't really just go digging on the FDA website on my own 2 cents. You know, I was actually tipped off by one of you guys. This is the greatest audience on earth, and you guys are always on point. And one of you, who I've covered your personal email, but shout out to Doug here. Doug was actually going back and forth with 7ohms, and the exact person that I previously had contact with in one of my prior videos who said some potentially incriminating stuff. And that person on the dev at 7ohms email was actually replying to our friend Doug here. And Doug CC'd me in on the entire email chain where he found this FDA warning letter, he found the true identities of the owners, and that is how I found the parent company website. So I want to give a quick shout out to Doug, but I also want to show you guys how they treat people who have concerns like this. So Doug sends them an email and he says, "Give up now. ChatGPT makes it impossible to be a drug dealer." Kapil Kumar, who's a name that we just saw in the articles there from the FDA, "I found 2 of your addresses, and I know all about your multiple shell companies. I found your property on Zillow." Now, I haven't gone that far. This guy hasn't sent me any of that, and even if he did, that's not the kind of stuff that I'm trying to publish in this video, but I do think it's important for us to know who's really behind these companies and the parent companies, too, because as we've just seen, that whole website is fake. How do we know what's in these pills? How do we know the consistency? Who do we pursue if there's an issue with the pills? Who? Tang Tang Wang? Who the fuck do I pursue? So, as you could see, 7ohms actually responded to him, mind you, after airballing me for months straight. They said, "Great job, Sherlock. Watch out for those hallucinations. Maybe verify your info, but whatever you think you found is a total nothing burger." Now, them taking the time to reply that tells me that what he found is definitely probably not a nothing burger, and it's probably significant enough to have these guys shaking in their boots, just like the FDA probably has them shaking in their boots as well. Hopefully, this video makes them shit themselves on top of it. Now, let me show you guys the email that I wrote to them when I requested comment. After Doug, our good friend Doug here, came in and tipped me off on this info, which I just want to say real quick, I can't do half the stuff I do without you guys. Whenever you guys send me these products and tell me, "Goblin, you need to look into this," whenever you guys give me info that helps me make this content, you're a big part of this. You guys are helping me do what I got to do, and I appreciate that a lot. So I reached out to the exact email that responded to our friend Doug, so obviously we know it's an active email that they're monitoring. And I said the following. I was just CC'd in the email chain you have been replying to with one of my viewers who highlighted your company, Thang Botanicals, having a website full of fake information and AI-generated employees. I plan to highlight this in an upcoming video on my YouTube channel. This one. I have also found the FDA's warning letter to Thang Botanicals doing business as 7-Ohms dated June 25th and plan to cover that. I would like to ask the following. Mind you, in all of these videos, I've given these guys opportunity to explain their side of the story and represent themselves effectively, and not once have they ever done it. They just ghost every single time, but they'll happily argue with random people that email them because they don't think it'll ever get anywhere to the public. Joke's on you, dude. Here it is in my video. So, I asked the following. Do you have any comment as to why Thang Botanicals' real ownership are not listed on the site? Do you have any comment as to why none of the people listed under the Our Team section appear online anywhere? You can Google every single name on the Our Team section if that even stays up after this video. None of them have any online presence whatsoever. There's not a LinkedIn. There's not a Facebook. There's nothing. All of these professional type of people, I won't say all, but the vast majority, they have LinkedIn profiles, guys. That's not like... they're not ghosts on the internet. You don't become the CEO of a scientific company by being a ghost and just applying for it via email. That's not really how it works, you know? At least one of these guys would have a LinkedIn. None of them do. C, I asked, do you have any comment as to why all the pictures of these people are AI generated? Listen, dude. Buddy with the blank watch, blank book, buttons melting into each other. Come on now. And D, do you have any comment on the FDA officially recommending the expedited scheduling of 7-0, suggesting it be placed in the same category as LSD and heroin? Which, yes, by the way, that is the category they're going for with the scheduling here. They do not like 7-0. Now, if you couldn't tell already, I never got a response to this email. They never bothered to respond. They don't care, dude. They're going out with a bang. They're just going to sell as many pills as they can until this shit's over with, and then go create another fucked up hustle to go fuck more people's lives over. That's how these people operate. They're predators, right? Now, some of you guys, maybe you're new to the channel. You haven't seen my prior videos on 7-0. Goblin, how are they predatory? You know, what are they doing that's predatory? No problem, bro. Let me show you right now, actually. I am ecstatic to show you this. Let me show you some of the branding. This is just a small sample. Let me show you some of the branding that these companies use. Roxy. This is a product that, mind you, when people defend it, they like to say, oh, well, this is a recovery product for ex-opioid addicts. Yeah, dude, the opioid addict quit taking oxys and went to the store and bought Roxy's, dude. That's a whole lot better, baby. That's a whole lot better. Roxy Pluses, pardon me. That's a whole lot better. Ah, Dozo Perks, dude. Yeah, we love taking perks, bro. That's great. 7 Hydro. Dude, these guys, they got the shots. They don't give a fuck, dude. What do you think this looks like? Have you guys ever seen this font before? I'm not going to fill in the blanks for you, but you real pillheads out there should probably know exactly what this is trying to imitate. One of the most popular opiates of all time. The catalyst for the opioid crisis, okay? Fill in the blanks. These people are predatory, dude. They don't care about anything at all except for getting you hooked and then monetizing it as much as humanly possible. Now, I want to show you guys the actual video that RFK and the health department put out about 7-0, because this is pretty crazy. Them standing here and doing this press release tells me that this shit's going to be banned before the end of the year. I don't think any 6 to 12 month timeline is happening. These guys are serious about this shit. And also, I want to say, listen, I never get political ever. I just don't believe in talking about politics on this channel. And also, I'm not even registered to vote. But I am absolutely shocked that I'm sitting here today saying, good job, Robert F. Kennedy. You killed it on this one. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr., your HHS secretary. You know, addiction typically affects about 10% of any population.
That's right.
It becomes a national crisis when the addictive substance suddenly becomes available. And today we are facing a new addiction crisis.
I love this, dude.
The availability of synthetic kratom, which is also...
That's an important distinction that RFK just made right there. Synthetic kratom. We're not talking about natural kratom products. We're not talking about natural kratom leaf. We are talking about synthetic 7-0 that is trying to guise itself under natural kratom, trying to convince people it's natural. It is not. It's not natural.
Which is also called gas station heroin.
Our focus is not on kratom.
I think gas station heroin, I mean, now 7-0 has adopted the name, but what is it, tianeptine? How do you say that one? That's
Our
the
focus is
OG
not
gas
on
station heroin, I'd say.
Kratom or the
Either way,
Kratom
let's
plant.
continue.
Our concern is with the synthetic concentrated byproduct.
That's
It
also
goes by
another thing that was really important he just said. Listen to this. Our
Our
focus
is not on Kratom,
not
or
on
the
Kratom
plant.
or the Kratom plant. Look at that, dude. That's major. They're directly saying they're not pursuing Kratom
concern
here.
is with the synthetic concentrated byproduct. It goes by several names. We call it 7-OH as the collective term. 7-OH is not just like an opioid. It is an opioid. And
Yup.
yet it is sold in vape stores, in smoke shops, in convenience stores, in gas stations.
And they're marketed for children. They're gummy bears.
Dude, I'm so happy to see an official federal entity saying these things that I feel like I've been yelling from the rooftops for months now. It makes me so happy to see this, dude. This is amazing. This is the type of proactive drug policy that I think should be happening. When these products are preying on young people, getting hella people hooked. I firsthand have gotten thousands of comments from you guys talking about how you got hooked on this stuff. I know it's true. I know this isn't just like a niche, oh, a couple kids got hooked. The majority of people consuming these 7-O products are not ex-opioid addicts. Those are the minority. The majority are the young kids going into smoke shops and kickstarting their opioid addiction with this.
Marketed for children. They're gummy bears. They're bright colors. They're candy flavored.
It's legal, but it's an addiction that's ruining lives.
So we are issuing a
Oh
report.
my, that's the Perks brand. He has a bottle of the Perks brand right in front of him. I believe that's Perks.
Lives.
Oh, those guys have to be shitting bricks, dude.
So we are issuing a report from the FDA to
Oh my
educate
God.
doctors and parents alike. We want
If I
everyone to
owned that
understand
brand, dude, I'd be on the edge of the bridge.
the risks. 7-OH is 13 times more potent than morphine. The FDA is going to be recommending that the DEA.
Okay, I
consider-
will say, a lot of people who are against opioids in general like to use this many times more potent than morphine. Well, morphine, especially when you take like morphine pills, is not that potent for getting high. Although I never got super into opioids, dude, I've abused the fuck out of them, especially when I was younger. I take whatever I could get my hands on. Morphine pills were like the base. Like even hydros were better than morphine pills when I was younger. Morphine pills were like the baseline, like, hey, at least I'm not sober, at least for me and my friends.
Recommending.
So morphine's not super strong, but 7-O is very strong. Don't be fooled. This shit hits. Ask anyone who's taken it.
that
It's
the
terrible.
DEA consider
It's horribly
the
addictive.
synthetic concentrated byproduct of kratom called 7-OH as a Schedule 1
controlled
And so that's
substance.
part of
That
our
is the
efforts.
same category as heroin and LSD. That is the strictest scheduling they can possibly give it.
Marty and Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for doing this because it also puts Congress on notice too, right? We're not only educating the public, but you're educating Congress about 7-OH. Fortunately, we have a secretary that understands addiction, and you're willing to stand up and actually take this on.
Thank you, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen.
I
This
mean,
is
dude,
a product
guys, I'm just going to say right now, I never in a million years thought I would sit here on my drug YouTube channel and applaud Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but this boy is cooking. This boy is cooking, dude. Straight up, this makes me so happy to see. And I know for a fact, I have so many friends. I'm not going to air out their names, but I have a good friend of mine. This doesn't just affect young people either. I have a good friend of mine who's very successful. He's very wealthy financially. He started a business in the cannabis industry and sold it, and now just is living life. He's become hooked on 7-O off a sample that he got at a smoke shop. He was never an opioid addict prior. He just relapsed on it at Champs in Vegas this past week because half of that event was full of booths handing out free samples of it, and they made him relapse on that shit. They handed him a free sample, and he's hooked again. This shit is bad. People fiend for this shit. It is just like any other addictive opioid. It's just like being addicted to oxys, being addicted to perks, being addicted to heroin, being addicted to any other opioid. It's the same addiction. It's the same family of drug. It's just a different chemical. That's the only thing setting it apart here, guys. And I just got to say before I head out of this video, listen, I understand the POV of all of the, the former opioid addicts or people that suffer from pain that are finding relief through 7-O. But I just don't think that means it should be widely available in smoke shops. And if making it a Schedule 1 substance is what prevents that the quickest, then I think so be it, unfortunately. Do I think maybe all drugs should be decriminalized? Yeah, sure. But also, that's not realistic. That's just not going to fucking happen in this country. Maybe even in my lifetime. That's like not going to happen here. The pendulum now especially is swinging the other way. I think 10 years ago, the outlook for decriminalizing all drugs was probably better than it is right now. And that's just the unfortunate reality of the situation. But I got to say, man, this is just... I'm happy to see something being done about 7-0. I hope all of you guys learned from this video and warn your friends about this stuff. And if you see a homie, go to a smoke shop, buy a 7-0 product, smack that shit out of their hands. Be a good friend and do them a favor. Thank you all for watching this one. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to go check out my Spotify channel, which now has all my main channel stories on there. You can listen to them with your phone locked on Spotify, on repeat, however you want to do it. Go enjoy. Thank you all for supporting this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Deuces.